Betrayer is a FPS indie adventure bonanza which has a freshly shipwrecked protagonist wandering around a monochrome landscape, smashing crates and looting chests to vent their frustration about not being on a boat anymore. Searching for clues to help piece together what has happened, they venture forth with a melee weapon, soaked clothes and a water squirting shoe. Along a linear path inside a pretty looking forest, they come across a person who hates totems with a passion and proves this by murdering one in front of our eyes. This red-hooded woman likes to keep you on your toes by occasionally changing colour and making you flee in terror. Speaking of inflicting terror on unsuspecting enemies, weapons can be bought from a merchant or scavenged as loot drops from enemies. Weapons from merchants tend to be of higher quality than those collected from enemies. I guess a tin of polish goes a long way when it comes to firing arrows. Shortly after murdering a man, you come to Fort Henry, a quiet deserted place with creepy anguished ash statues. In Fort Henry, you also come across a bell, which of course you need to set up and ring. I mean, it'd be rude not to. Bells appear in each main hub area for one specific location. Bells are essential to the plot, as when rung, they transport you to a dark realm. I guess our protagonist lost a duel against Pegasus at some point. In this other realm, you turn detective and need to solve the mystery of the race. To do this, you need to dig up an eye to see them with, an ear to hear them with, and a tongue to talk to them with. After all, the tongue is the best way to do this. When chatting to the Wraith, you find out some details about them, but not much, as they must have bumped their ethereal heads, forgetting everything in the process. Shortly after talking to the Wraith, you are interrupted by the red-hooded woman who tells you that she has amnesia, conveniently, and has no idea about the Wraiths or the enemies you have fought on the way here. All she cares about is finding her sister, and that you are the only person she has seen or spoken to in the past few days. She seems, however, to be interested in hearing more about the Wraiths, so you can talk to her about any progressions you have made in the investigation. Another mystery to solve, but now that you are a certified detective thanks to the bell, you need to explore each area for clues on what has happened to the Wraiths and find out who they are and what they have to do with this realm. When searching the world, you'll notice a lack of music. This helps to build the atmosphere, as certain audio clues distinguish between different enemy types and also can give you a friendly nudge in the right direction for finding clues. Either that, or we left our MP3 player on the boat. Back to our investigation. The map highlights all the important points to head towards, which is much appreciated. Along the way, finding graves and notes, we have our enemies. First is the Big Brother armor guy, who takes a lot of hits unless you feel like lobbing a grenade his way and finishing him off with a pistol. His little brother, who uses the standard weapons you do, can be a nuisance when they pull out a musket, but other than that, there's not really too much to worry. In the other realm, all we have are skeletons who pose no threats unless 15 of them swarm you. Later on, we do get more variety of enemies, mainly savages who got way too close to the barbecue and set themselves on fire. These guys love to run away once they have been hit, which is a fair tactic, but when left alone, they come back for a surprise attack. Thanks to a handy, or eerie I guess, listen feature added in the game, during your exploration of the other worlds you can follow noises coming from shadows, some of which help towards progressing the Wraith investigation as they are directly related to their story. Other shadows, however, are less fortunate and have had their skulls stolen, not by me for a change, and need you to slay a big bad boy to get them back, rewarding you with coins or items. Others spawn a paper mache cloud man who you must defeat for the shadow to give you items to help towards your investigation, filling in missing plot details that the amnesiac Wraiths need help with. Other ways to progress is to give totems a little bit of love by murdering a bunch of skeletons to make them feel better. Skeletons who take peekaboo way too seriously and have to make eye contact with you before they start to attack, going so far as to stop their attack animation midway through to move into a place so they can see you. Unfortunately, after re-murdering these skeletons, there is no massive boss man to fight, giving you an unsatisfying feeling instead of feeling accomplished. Once skeletons have been shattered, the totems cheer up and give you some goodies in the form of coins and items. Not surprising that the totems were angry, given that the red-hooded woman has most likely been firing arrows at them for fun. Speaking of, I like to tease her with some of the trinkets I find by showing them to her, offering them as a gift, and then taking them away at the last minute, just because I can. This is what you get for having plot amnesia. Overall, the game is pretty decent. The Dark World is the best part of the game, as that's pretty much where all the story is. Going from light to dark realm is a good concept, however I feel the light realm lacked development. It has the tougher and more varied enemies, but no real story other than the red-hooded woman, whereas the Dark Realm has the story but lacks engaging combat. Personally, I would have preferred always being in the Dark Realm and having a more horror element added to it. I do like the listen feature, which helps direct to the shadows if you are stumped on where to go. The problem is, finding these clues is too tedious and are collected the same way every time. Some puzzles would have helped massively in keeping me want to find new clues, and if done right could have fleshed out the word that little bit more. Battles themselves get pretty boring after a while as you're fighting the same enemies over and over again, with the stealth mechanic only really helping when there are 2 or 3 enemies at a fair distance from each other so you don't get spotted. But in my experience, the easier way was just to go all out and kill the enemies as soon as you see them. Like I said, the game is decent and I enjoyed playing it for a few hours, but I cannot see myself finishing it. I think there is a great foundation here, which adding some extra gameplay elements like puzzles, a level up system instead of buying upgrades, or even something like elemental weapons and bullets could have really excelled this game into something great. My final rating is going to be a 6 out of 10. I definitely recommend giving it a try for yourself, but unfortunately for me, a few hours is enough. I really do hope that Black Powder Games expands on Betrayal in the future, and I genuinely look forward to seeing what they have to come up with next. I think the studio has the right ideas, but they just need to flesh out the foundation that they already have in Betrayal into something that much more expansive.